This is Boomtown, 2018. In 2013, my daughter, Ellie Rowe, came here, took ketamine, small amount of alcohol, and died. And it's funny, it's actually a really beautiful place, isn't it? I'm Wendy Teasdale, and I've been coming to Boomtown for the last few years with my eldest daughter, Iona. It might seem strange, but it helps us feel close to Ellie. The first time I came, I couldn't see what a beautiful place it was. All I could see was blackness. Ellie was at Boomtown with her best friend, Steph. This is the first time Steph's been able to talk about it.
She's just absolutely irreplaceable in my life. I'd never had a friend like her. And she was just so funny as well.
Inside the festival, the girls found it easy to get hold of ketamine, a potent medical anaesthetic.
We hadn't dabbled in many drugs, really. It was only in like a festival environment, and we were quite new to it as well.
Who's gonna win? I think it's gonna be...
We were asking around through friends who we knew at the festival, seeing if we could get any ketamine. I commented on how strong it seemed, because it seemed to hit me instantly, and then I K-holed. It's like a dark trip, but you pass out.
When Steph came round, Ellie was still unconscious.
And then I touched her hand and she felt very cold, and I couldn't hear her breathing. I really didn't think she would die, especially from what we had taken. And then I was in the car on the way to the police station, and I hadn't even said goodbye to Ellie.
Ellie was just 18. She's one of 4 people to have died after taking drugs at Boomtown. This year, drugs are still getting on site. The security operation is overseen by Judy Beck. And what are the main sort of drugs that people are bringing in?
It's fairly standard across most festivals, I think. We tend to have a lot of cannabis, MDMA tablets, MDMA crystal, and ketamine.
So is ketamine still coming in?
It is one of the drugs that is still people are still trying to bring into the festival.
Unbelievably.
Yeah, I know.
There are 60,000 people coming through these gates, and they're asked to hand over drugs voluntarily. If they do, they're allowed in. If they don't, and they're caught, they're kicked out.
Do you think that is, in practice, possible to have nothing come in?
I think that's a very quite difficult question. You know, honestly, we can only do what we can.
In the UK, 20% of young adults will have taken drugs in the last year.
What's this?
This is some free water. I can also give you some drug advice if you want some of that.
Ellie mixed ketamine with alcohol, and it's thought this is what killed her. Specialist organisations are now being invited into some festivals, offering advice to people who've taken drugs.
I suppose the main people we are targeting are people that don't have a lot of drug experience or potentially have misinformation about drugs as well.
Katy MacLeod is from Chill Welfare.
How much do you think you've had?
What, vodka or ketamine?
Well, both, yeah.
I've had just under a litre of vodka and about a 0.4 of K.
Okay, that's quite a lot, yeah.
I'm nicely wonked.
If I'd had that, I'd be dead.
Yeah.
I would be dead.
So I think you need to be really careful around alcohol with it, definitely. We feel that this kind of provision should probably be part of a licensing requirement to make an event as safe as possible, because there is no festival out there that can claim to not have issues around drugs and alcohol. If you're sniffing it as well, just remember not to be sharing equipment with other people. Okay, thanks. Free water, anyone? I'll fill this up for you.
Curiosity kills.
There's a lot of people that are naive to drugs that are getting involved with it and
the
cause themselves a problem if they don't know.
There's a lot of personal liability when you take drugs at a festival. I guess having educational measures like this really help.
And we've heard people at the campsite talking about warnings that have gone out and all kinds of stuff like that. It makes things safer.
Another organisation offering counselling and advice on drug use is The Loop, set up by Professor of Criminology Fiona Measham. Controversially, they also test drugs for people to check the purity and strength. It's all done here on site.
At the moment in the UK, we've got the highest drug-related death rate we've ever had.
Really?
It's the highest in Europe, the highest on record. We had to do something to help reduce the drug-related death rate.
When they find something worrying, The Loop sends out warnings on social media.
So this weekend we had pink pills that turned out to be pentolone. So you'll see there were warnings up saying, please be careful, pink pills are being sold on site.
Somebody mentioned pink pills, didn't they?
Yeah.
Heard that
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
That's getting out there.
Yeah.
Are they pentolone?
Yeah, they're pentolone, yeah.
On the first day, 15 samples of pentolone were handed in, disguised as so-called party drug MDMA. Senior chemist Guy Jones says they're still finding more.
N-ethyl pentolone has virtually indistinguishable appearance from MDMA, and initially the effects are similar enough to make people think that it's MDMA. The problem is that each time they redose that, we say as a rule of thumb will roughly add about 6 hours onto the time that somebody can't sleep afterwards. And so somebody's potentially dosing for 10 hours through a night is then unable to sleep for 2 to 3 days.
Psychosis.
Exactly. So sleep deprivation.
Drugs are tested against a database of 10,000 substances.
What it has matched against.
It's not just about what's in the drug, but how strong it is.
All three of the main drugs that we see, MDMA, ketamine and cocaine, are increasingly stronger and stronger. Some of the pills may contain 3 doses of MDMA in 1 tablet. Best case scenario, they take 1 tablet and that's a trip to the welfare, or could even be even more severe than that.
Do you know, I have a question. Ketamine, what does it look like? I always imagined it was a pill.
I mean, I can get you a sample if you want to see it.
Yes, please. Thank you. I don't really want to see the drug that killed my daughter, but actually I do as well, because there's people out there who are not scared of it at all, who are far too friendly with it. That's my feeling.
Okay, so this is a sample of ketamine.
May I hold it a moment?
Yes,
Just
yeah.
Thank you. When she has her adenoids out, this is probably what they use. It's a wonderful drug in its place, but not up my daughter's nose.
No.
So thank you for showing me that, because it's kind of like a milestone. Thank you. Over 4 days at Boomtown, the Loop tested more than 1,500 drugs. It was so busy they had to turn people away. But not all festivals agree with the Loop. Some, like Reading and Leeds, won't allow them on site. Anna Wade is one of Boomtown's organisers. By having the Loop in, are you not acknowledging that your security is not 100% effective?
We know it still gets in, so it's just like, we can't just ignore the fact that it's in the festival. We want to do something to be able to talk to people, to educate them, to offer them something, so they can actually go and get it tested and have some really good advice on what to do safely, and hopefully a good level of kind of consultation that might actually put people off it in the long run.
Organisations like The Loop and Chill Welfare say that people need to be informed about the drugs they take. Others want zero tolerance. But every year people die after taking drugs at festivals. That needs to stop. If Ellie's death starts a conversation that saves just one life, I can find comfort in that. There are no words for losing a child. It's the place nobody wants to go. And there's a kind of heaviness in my heart all the time, but I work on transforming it. So I just keep breathing, I keep living, because she wouldn't want us to do anything but. you.